We will now move into a third zone, which is an anchoring zone. So, in earlier phase or the zone, you had just created, or you had just showed the seed. Now it has started germinating. Now it has it is broken out of the earth. It has sprouted. That means a new life or a new business or a new aspiration has just taken the birth. Now, this is the phase where you have to be really, really careful. You remember the days when there is a small baby which arrives on this earth. Obviously, there are few days and weeks which are very, very important. And that's where you need to really anchor the growth, because a new life can literally go into any direction. Likewise, once the mentee has really understood and has worked on his or her idea, and they get a kind of little confidence, they are very, very excited. They are highly energetic, and they are heading and prepared to head into any direction. And now your mentoring style has to change. Now you have to play a role of an anchor. So what you can do as part of anchoring, you can monitor and direct. It's not about just completing the checklist. So many a times what happens in a relationship between mentor and mentee is mentor has probably given some task or asked a few things to act upon through his mentee, and mentee in their next meeting or in their next conversation brings up a list of things that he has achieved, not achieved. And for not achieved things, there is always an excuse or a genuine, so-called genuine reasons. But it's not about completing the checklist. As a mentor, as part of monitoring and directing, your eyes should always look for real and incremental progress. If the mentee is really making a progress, even though he may have failed on accomplishing some of the tasks or completing certain actions, and maybe there are real genuine reasons also, you should not really focus on just checklist, but look for the real progress that mentee has made in the process. Then later on, change the course. If you need to really change the course, you please do that, but keep directing and pushing in the direction of the progress. The next thing that you can do as part of anchoring is to protect and guide. Like I said, the new life has just taken, it has just arrived, and this is the time where it is full of energy. It's a bundle of energy, and it is vulnerable to a lot of different things. So not just monitoring and directing will help, but you also need to think of protecting and guiding. Here, your experience will count. If you see a threat, you must indicate that there is a threat, and the mentee should not really venture into that direction, and you must guide him to the right direction. Very important thing as part of anchoring is ask and not tell everything. Obviously, you have lots of experience. You have lived more years possibly than your mentee. You have tons of experience. So natural tendency of any mentor or any leader for that matter is to jump to the answers. So mentees have certain questions and they have some queries, and you are jumping to answer the questions. I think here is a point where you should actually completely change and reverse the approach. It is very important to ask right questions. To be more impactful mentor, you need to sharpen your questioning skills, because if you ask right questions, it brings out a lot of useful, vital information. The sole purpose of asking right question, and therefore, of course, mentor have to really continue to work on sharpening their questioning skills. When you ask right and sharp questions, like I said, it brings out a lot of vital and useful information. And you can use this information to make sound decisions. And if you repeat on from one transaction to another transaction, slowly mentee also starts getting a feel of the questions coming out of you, and the information that he is producing in response to your question. And then he is at the back of his mind, he is actually developing an understanding that this is the right way to make the decision. So for any crucial and complex decision making, when it comes and when it's likely to hit in future, he knows the process. So asking question is very, very vital as part of your mentoring relationship. You can always answer to quench the thirst, but the questions are the ones which actually ignites the fire. And as a mentor, it is your responsibility to keep igniting this fire in their belly. So your role is not to dose the fire. Yes, in certain areas where he is really lacking the knowledge, and if he really needs an answer, you answer those questions. I'm not stopping or not suggesting in any ways that you should never answer, but the proportion of answer and question should change. Another very important aspect of anchoring is to let them drive. You should never sit on the steering wheel. Let them sit on the steering wheel, but your duty as a mentor is to keep them on track. Now, of course, it's very, very difficult because you are not driving the vehicle, you are not behind the steering wheel, you are letting your mentee drive. So that's where your experience again counts, to keep them on track. So whenever and wherever it is needed, you just keep providing the guidance, you make suggestions. Those suggestions also could be in form of questions, and while responding to those questions, probably they get more realization. In this question answer, important thing to focus on is to make them realize what the right answers are and what the right solutions are. So it's important that you don't sit on the driving seat because you know driving and you have been doing it for many years as an experienced person. What happens is if you don't let them drive, they will never learn driving. It's that kind of scenario. So it is important for mentors to know when to take the back seat or a seat next to the driver, but you continue to let them drive. Now, obviously, the person whom you are mentoring for a given area has, he's lacking knowledge. He's probably lacking expertise. He's lacking skills, and because of these all lacunas, he might have lots of confusion. Those confusions could be built on the pile of misinformation. It could be misconceptions, or maybe the things that he hears outside your mentoring conversation. So obviously he brings all those confusions to you. As a mentor, your duty should be not only to eliminate these confusions, but also drive it to a conclusion. So again, not just answering the questions or not just getting rid of the confusion, but give them the right direction, and as part of add-on information, you can drive them to a conclusion. Sometimes they are not even able to articulate their confusion very well, and that also probably because of their inexperience. So it is important that you understand from the verbatim that they are giving or the comprehension that they are giving to you, and understand whether it is a confusion. You also need to isolate whether it is a genuine question or a confusion. So as a mentor, by virtue of your experience, you should be able to address that confusion. What happens in this conversion process from confusion to conclusion? You bring up a lot of clarity, and you bring up that clarity step by step. And I always believe more the clarity, better the reality. So if you really want to see a better reality for your mentee, I think it is important that you bring more and more clarity, and that clarity comes only by following this process of confusion to conclusion. As part of anchoring, how much time are we left with? 10 minutes? As part of anchoring, you have to be relentless encourager. You need to be tireless encourager. Now, when it comes to encouragement, please know that it is not a plain appreciation. Yes, somebody does a great work or achieves small little things, you need to appreciate it. But encouragement is not just a plain appreciation. You need to really dive deeper into the whole cause or the whole effort that he is putting in, and then accordingly you encourage him or her from time to time. You may not be able to guide them in all areas, but your efforts will go a long way if you constantly encourage and provide them an emotional support. And what it does is, versus appreciation, the encouragement versus appreciation, what happens in case of encouragement is it creates those warm and kind conditions. And remember, we talked about preparing the condition. The growth happens only in kind and warm condition. So you ought to be a tireless encourager. We move to the next zone, which is maximizing. So going to a next level requires a renewed and expanded vision. So we are talking about going and growing beyond. So probably the mentee has found some groove and he has kind of stabilized the ship. He now knows lots of things about his or her business or his career. Probably his vision is also absolutely clear to him. He has now, through your efforts, he has also started realizing the importance of every little contribution that he is making. He is generating, he's able to take the decision out of the information that he has created through a process. But this is not the end of it. You have still not completely empowered it. After reaching to this stage, the next step is about maximizing, and that is going and growing beyond the point. So as a mentor, it is your responsibility to expand the vision. We talked about the importance of stretched goal. Similar to that, you now need to expand the vision. Many a times we come across some of the mentees, and through BYST, we obviously focus on micro and small entrepreneurs. And during conversations, we figure out that after starting the business, they have started doing well. They have started really doing well. And probably, for them, the definition of, being happy and healthy is do waqt ka roti mil gaya, and my family is doing well and my son is going to a nice school. That is the definition of their success. But probably as a mentor, if you identify or if you figure out that the guy has greater potential to do even better than what he's doing right now, it's time and it's also your moral duty to help him expand the vision. Things that he cannot see from his own eyes, but you are able to see that through consistent efforts and with the kind of character that you have instilled in him, the skills that you have helped him to acquire, he has potential to grow beyond. You should also ask them to challenge the status quo. Challenging the status quo is very, very important. The mentor must elevate and up the ante to energize mentee to develop a new level of confidence. And once the new level of confidence is developed, he should start challenging the status quo. Not necessarily every day, but over a period of time, through a periodic and stringent schedule, he should be able to look at what he is doing, do a sort of introspection, and start challenging how can I do better on XYZ areas. How can I really improve on my operations, for example, or how can I do better job when it comes to my customer relationship. So this is something which actually never allows them to sit in a comfort zone and takes them out of a potential complacency mode. And as a mentor, I think it is a great service if you are able to teach these and make your mentee realize that it's not really good to sit in a comfort zone and to stay complacent about certain things that they have achieved. People develop that lot of pride and sort of ego also once they achieve something which their other peers and somebody in the neighborhood has not achieved, and that makes them feel very, very complacent. But as a mentor, your mentee should always be challenged through you. Sometimes going to a next step also brings in a lot of fear. When you have nothing to lose, remember, when you were novice, when you were beginner, you probably did not have anything to lose. Same thing happens with mentee also. So when you have nothing to lose, you are kind of fearless. But then once you have achieved certain things in your life, maybe it could be a status, it could be a wealth, or it could be something else, then obviously you naturally, as a human being, you naturally develop a tendency of holding on to all those things that you have achieved. And that's where the fear psychosis come in play. As a mentor, it is very important to make them feel and eliminate the kind of fear that they have. Basically, probably they have become more risk averse, and you need to teach them how to take calculated risk and how it really works. So you basically need to teach them a new, different critical business skill, which is required to eliminate those fears. And the last thing is making the mind shift. That mind shift could be, I have not taken too many examples here, but that mind shift could be, your mentee is probably always thinking about price of a product or a service that he is delivering to the customer. The mind shift has to happen from price to value. He should now be thinking about giving more importance to the value that he is delivering to his customer or to his audience. The mind shift also has to happen from merely a customer service. I am not saying customer service is not important, but he has to shift his focus from just customer service to customer engagement. And if the mentee is into business, he should not just only think about the business, the people, and the associated systems and processes. He should now start thinking about the complete ecosystem that he is into. And every business and every profession has its own ecosystem. So you introduce them to what their ecosystem is, and I'm sure they will be able to do a better job. So if you are able to inculcate this mind shift into their head, they are up for going and growing beyond. Before we end, I just would like to leave you with one very impactful thought from none other than Sir Isaac Newton. What he says is, if I have seen further than others, it is by standing upon the shoulders of giants. In other words, he talks about maybe he had somebody who mentored him and he is able to see further. And I always say, and this is something that you can also use with your mentee, when they are feared about certain things, when they are not able to comprehend the vision that you are trying to build for them, just let them know that go as far as you can see, and once you reach there, you will see further. So maybe something which is not visible on their horizon right now under the given circumstances, but you need to push him that, whether, how far you are able to see doesn't really matter, but you just go as far as you can see. You go and travel in that direction. Once you reach there, you will see further. With that, I think I'm done with my presentation. But we of course have a few more minutes for question and answer, and I'll ask my colleague here, Priyanka, to open up the session for question and answer.